Hello everyone. Today I want us to look at the different types of markets. Types of markets. That's what I want us to look at today. Sorry. I have got some throat problems, so I hope you're going to understand. You're going to understand me. My throat is itching somehow, but no problem. I hope you're going to hear me. Today, we're going to look at the different types of markets that exist in the world. You know, this question is very common in NEC exams, where you're told to state 3 types of markets in which traders can sell their products or traders can sell their goods. Now, you see some people saying black market, I don't know, dark market. We don't have such kind of markets. We have got 4 types of markets that exist in the world. Now, the first type of market that exists is what we call perfect competition market. So we're going to discuss this. Perfect competition. Perfect competition market. Then we have what we call monopolistic, or what we call the monopolistic competition market. Monopolistic market. Then we have what we call the oligopoly market. Then we have what we call the monopoly the monopoly. So these are the 4 types of markets that exist in the world. Those are the 4 types of markets where traders, buyers and sellers usually trade in these 4 types of markets. Perfect competition market, monopolistic market, oligopoly market, and monopoly market. Now, okay, let's begin with the perfect competition market. This is a kind of a market where you find a large number of small farms operating, maybe at one place or at different places, but we have a large number of small farms that operate in a market. And these small farms have got, they compete against each other. And the farms do not have any significant market power. And therefore, as a result, the industry as a whole produces the socially optimal level of output. So, I want you to consider an example of companies like flour milling companies, or those companies that mill flour. We have Pembe, we have Ndovu, we have Kifaru, there are so many companies. So when we have such a market where a large number of small farms compete against each other, and maybe they sell similar products, then that kind of a market is referred to as a perfect competition market. Now, in a perfect competition market, there are assumptions that usually uphold, so that we say that now this is a perfect competition market. Number 1, all firms must maximize profit. So firms try to maximize their profit in a perfect competition market. That's where each firm will try to market its product, try to be unique, though the product is maybe the same, all right, in order to maximize the profit. And then we have another assumption, that is there is free entry and exit to the market. In a perfect competition market, there is free entry. Yeah, a market or a company can get into the market freely and also exit freely. You are not compelled to stay in the market if you cannot withstand the competition. Another assumption is that all firms sell completely identical or homogeneous goods which are similar. So companies that operate in a perfect competition market will sell homogeneous goods or similar goods. Goods are homogeneous. The opposite of homogeneous is heterogeneous. So homogeneous means that the goods are similar. For example, we gave a good example, that is the flour milling companies and so forth. Then we say there are no consumer preferences. So we don't have consumers say, no, Dove is the best, Kifaru is the best. We don't have such preferences. That is an assumption for a perfect competition market to exist and thrive. The second kind of a market is what we call a monopolistic market. Now, in a monopolistic market, we have a large number of small firms. Just the same way we have a perfect competition being composed of a large number of small firms. A monopolistic competition is also composed of a large number of small firms. But now the difference between a perfect competition and a monopolistic competition is whereby here we say the products are differentiated. So here we have differentiated products. In a monopolistic market, the products are differentiated. So we have that differentiation of the products. Okay? Yeah, so the products are differentiated. Now, then if the products are differentiated, that now brings what we call now different tastes and different preferences. Now we also have assumptions like this in this kind of a market, that all firms maximize profit. Alright, just like in a perfect competition. Number two, there is free entry and exit to the market, just like in a monopolistic or in a perfect competition. And number three, another assumption is that firms sell differentiated products or products which are different. Here, the firms do not sell similar products like in a perfect competition. Here, the products are differentiated. And then, another assumption is that consumers may prefer one product over the other. So we have consumer preference here, now that the products are differentiated. A good example of this kind of a market is where we have markets, or a market like we have a kind of a market like what? Like perfume companies, or companies that make perfume. You find that the difference in the perfumes is the smell. So the differentiation is in terms of smell. This perfume smells like this one smells like this one is like this. You see? Yes. So we have many firms that operate like that. Now, we have oligopoly kind of a market. Now, an oligopoly market is where we have small numbers. So now here we get to small farms. Small number of farms compete against one another. A good example here is the communication companies, telecommunication companies, Safaricom, Airtel, Telcom. Those are small number of firms that compete. And in one way or another, in some cases, the companies will merge, will tend to come together so that they can withstand the competition, or so that they can compete with the other company. So in this case, we have small number of firms. And in an oligopolistic market, we have these assumptions that all firms maximize profit. Oligopolies, another assumption is that oligopolies can set prices. Yes, they can. They are the ones to determine. They are few, so they can set prices of commodities. And then there are barriers to entry and exit in the market. You don't enter freely, you don't exit freely as well. Okay? Then another assumption is that products may be homogeneous or differentiated. We can have the same products, or we can have differentiated products. Like now you see, telecommunication companies have got differentiated products, slightly differentiated. However, they serve the same purpose, because the purpose of Safaricom is communication, Airtel communication. You see? Yes. And then another assumption is that there is only a few firms that dominate the market, and that's why we have these companies controlling the price. They can set the price to fit their demand. And finally, we have what we call monopoly. So here we have oligopoly. We can say it's a small number of firms which compete. Now here we only have one firm that dominates the entire market. So one firm dominates the entire market. It means that the firm here will definitely, one firm will definitely control the entire market. A good example is that of Kenya Power and Lighting Company. This electricity that we consume in Kenya is supplied by one supplier. It's very dangerous to have one firm or one single firm that dominates the entire market. And these are the assumptions. Number one, monopolies maximize profit. And number two, it can set the price. Monopolies can set the price. A monopoly company can set the price of products. And also number three, there are high barriers to entry and exit. You cannot just enter and exit this kind of a market. And there is only one firm that dominates the entire market. So there is one firm which dominates the entire market. That's an assumption. So in a nutshell, or in summary, a perfect competition describes a market structure where a large number of small firms compete against each other with homogeneous products. Meanwhile, monopolistic competition refers to a market structure where a large number of small firms compete against each other with differentiated products. All right? And an oligopoly describes a market structure where a small number of firms compete against each other. And then a monopoly refers to a market structure where a single firm controls the entire market. So that is what I wanted you to understand through this video. During our next lesson, we shall summarize this topic. Now we are nearly winding up this topic, so that now next week we start a new topic, which is buying and selling. So we are moving on well, and we are doing well. So kindly understand these four market structures. In case anybody asks you a question on the four market structures, remember these four. All right, and that's how business operates. Wherever you go in the world, you will find these four market structures dominating business. So thank you very much for your time. God bless you.